So I'm filming a charting session right now for just some of my boys locally that I'm helping out with kind of learning the ropes of trading. But I started to get into a topic that I just think is really, really important. And actually, I'm gonna make this a YouTube video, and I don't need the charts for this, so I'm gonna zoom out a little or zoom in, whatever. But what I was talking about is overtrading. And I think just with the guys that I've been working with and just the people that I talk to about trading, the number one problem that I see, the number one problem that I hear about, it's always overtrading. I swear, it's like this universal issue that everybody has, and it makes sense because it is hard to overcome. But I wanted to talk about like my story a little bit with overtrading because I've been trading for 3 years now. So it's been a minute, and trust me when I tell you, I have been there when it comes to overtrading. And I never really had the problem where it was like I was taking 10 or 15 trades a week or like 5 trades a day. Like it was never really like that for me. More so what it was is I was always like my whole life, other than like my pothead days, whatever, I've been a pretty big disciplinarian. Like I've gone to the gym, I've eaten healthy, I make my bed in the morning, whatever. Like I've always been good at that, and that kind of correlated into the charts. So I was always disciplined on the charts. I never took any bullshit setups. I never, steered away from my plan, whatever. I never traded Asia session or any of that shit. But what it would be for me is obviously like with any strategy that you have, that strategy it's not going to be an 100% win rate. Like there's going to be days where strategically you're just going to take a loss. Like for me, my win rate is, roughly like 75 to 80%. It's pretty high based on the way I trade, but every now and then that 20% is going to come along and I'm just going to have to sit there and accept the loss. Now, what I would do like a couple of years ago, even a year ago, to be honest with you, like what would happen is I would do fantastic. Like I was always really patient. Like I'm a very picky trader. So I would take like 2 or 3 trades a week and I would sit on my hands, some days not take a trade. Other day I would hit a trade and it'd be a winner. Then the next trade I took would be a winner. And it was good because I was following all my rules. I was being super patient, just overall like doing exactly what you should do to be a profitable trader. But what would happen is, like I was talking about that strategical loss, that loss would come. And I don't know if it's just like, I've always had the mindset of, I've always been super competitive. Like I do not fucking like losing. I hate it more than anything. I was a hockey player growing up. I hated fucking losing. I did like trampoline stuff and flips, and I would hate if I couldn't hit a certain trick, like whatever. But I don't know if it was just that ego where it stemmed from, but dude, I could not walk away from even just a strategical loss. Even though I knew it was part of trading and part of my system, I just couldn't do it. I would always want to make that loss back, at least just be at 0 for the day. At least just be at 0. At least then I'm not negative. At least then I can walk out of my room and tell my parents, hey, I'm up a few dollars on the day, whatever. It's bullshit, okay? And what would happen is, I think like the first few times I did it, it actually worked. I would revenge trade that same day, like 2 minutes later, I just re-enter the position. And I think what happened was I did like make my position back and then some, which was great. I felt like the fucking man. I mean, I can't lose. But what happens is then you have that day where you take the strategical loss and then you try to revenge trade to make it back, but then you lose even bigger. And let me tell you, that feeling of losing even bigger, losing double on the day, it hits you way harder than that feeling of making back your loss. Because when you make back your loss, you're at 0 or maybe a little bit over. But when you double down on your loss for the day and it just keeps going down, that shit, it hits you in the chest. Like, I mean, you get pissed. Me personally, I was a major crash out on the charts. I'm not even gonna lie. Like when I would have those days, dude, the amount of mouses and keyboards that I went through was ridiculous. I've punched a hole in my wall. I threw a tub of moisturizer and it splattered all over my room. Like, dude, I have been there. Trust me when I tell you I've been there, and I've probably, like, I don't want to say all this shit I've broken, whatever, but I've probably crashed out worse than you. It was bad. I had some issues, but we're past that now. But like, I would trade good for a month straight, 3 weeks straight, whatever it is, and then all of it would just blow up in one day. So I never really had a problem of sitting on the charts for hours at a time and taking all these trades, trading Asia session, London session, whatever. I never had that problem. For me, it was that one day where I'd be doing so good and then I would completely set everything back. Like, it was terrible. It was literally like one step forward, 5 steps back. And it was like, there's no way longevity-wise you're going to be profitable doing that, even short-term wise. Like, it's impossible. And unless you actually take accountability for yourself and realize that, maybe I should treat this like a business and actually understand that strategical losses are going to happen. I just need to shut my computer, walk away, and do something else for the rest of the day. A lot of people, they have an issue, and this was my big issue too, re-entering positions after getting stopped out. You take a position, whatever, price retraces into a fair value gap, you see it displace out of it, you take your entry, and then you get stopped out. Price goes just a smidge, just a little bit below your stop loss, and then starts going again. You're like, oh shit, like, I just got stopped, whatever. And then you re-enter the position, and then you just get chopped up, and win or loss, most of the time it's gonna be a loss. You're sitting there for an hour pulling your hair out because the 1 minute time frame looks like this, and then you just get completely fucked. And that's just, it's so not worth it. Like, think about it. If you're actually trading your strategy the way you should be trading it, if you get stopped out, your stop loss should be in a point where if price goes past it, that trade is invalid. So if your trade's invalidated, if you're actually trading an A+ setup, the market probably isn't going to be in your favor that day. Like, I'm not saying the market conditions are trash. I don't believe in that shit. But more than likely, in terms of your strategy, the market is probably not in the best condition to be trading your strategy that day. So more than likely, you should just hop off. Like seriously, it's not that difficult. You can't sit there the rest of the day just trying to catch a re-entry, watching your P&L go down. Like, how are you going to get any bitches doing that? It's impossible. Picture you have a bad bitch right next to you, hot blonde, big rack, whatever, and she's watching you trade. She's probably going to be a little bit concerned if you're sitting there just clicking buttons, stressing yourself out, you're sweating. She's going to be like, is this dude like gambling? Is he on drugs? Whatever. No. You want her to think that you are a professional businessman. Trading the charts, this is your business. You run it on a day-to-day basis. You are calm, you're collected, and you're here to do one thing and one thing only. That is follow your rules, longevity-wise, make money. Okay? And another way that, I had a sticky note on my computer, and what it said was, you will thank yourself tomorrow for not crashing out today. And the reason I wrote that sticky note there is because I realized, eventually I realized how bad, this overtrading issue was. And so I did take a strategical loss. I literally said, some dumb shit the day before. I was like, I swear on somebody's grave or whatever that I will not take 2 trades today. And, I actually stuck to that because I had to just, I had to fulfill that promise. I couldn't be a complete piece of shit. I'm a degenerate sometimes, but I'm not going to go against that. And so I woke up the next day and I didn't have a broken keyboard. I didn't have a blown account. I didn't have a hole in my wall. I was like, this actually feels pretty good. And when I had that feeling, I wrote that on the sticky note, and every single day I would look at that, and I think that was pretty much the end of my overtrading issue, because I realized how great it was just to not have a blown account, to have a desk setup that's not fucking in pieces all over the floor. And then what happened was, from there, I started to notice some actual consistent results. I wasn't profitable yet because I wasn't quite ready to be profitable. My strategy still needed some tweaking, whatever. But I was actually able to consistently see some results, and it was such a good feeling. And if I would have never stopped that overtrading thing, it would have been the same thing over and over again. It would be a few steps forward, and then just all those steps back right at once. And that you're never going to, longevity wise, be profitable by doing that. Think of trading as, think of it as, you know, this is your business. With a business, you're going to get a salary from that business. Anytime you take a stupid trade, take a revenge trade, FOMO, whatever it is, act like you're taking that away from your salary. Your salary is based on a strategic edge that you have in the market. So if you're taking something that isn't included in that strategic edge, that takes away right from your salary. It's not even your job. Like, you're literally taking money out of the account. And sure, a few times it might work. That one time it doesn't work, all that shit is just gonna hit the fan. And I am telling you, later last year and earlier this year, when I really knocked that shit off and I just completely, like, I would never trade twice a day. I would never. That is when I started to become profitable. I was passing evaluations. Then earlier this summer, I started getting payouts. Then I started getting 10K plus payouts, and it's been profitable ever since. Just because I realized I fixed my strategy issue, which was finding a strategy that actually I could trade well, which for me is continuations and, you know, focusing on quick moves rather than just waiting the whole day for a giant fucking move. Once I took out the overtrading and once I realized that losses are going to come, regardless if your strategy is high win rate, low win rate, and high RR, whatever it is, losses are going to come. And once I just fully accepted that and realized how nice it was to not have a blown account the next morning, that is when everything changed for me. That is what got me to this point now, consistently hitting 5-figure months versus the kid crashing out, throwing a fucking tub of lotion across his room and having it spurt everywhere. You'd think there was a fucking orgy in the room. Like, it was terrible. So please, if overtrading is an issue, that exact note that I had on my computer, the sticky note that said you will thank yourself tomorrow for not crashing out today, put that on your computer. Even if you had to do some shit that I did, which is like swear on somebody's grave that I would only take one trade, or on Top Step, there's literally a lockout feature. That literally, if you take one trade, you're locked out for the rest of the day. If you struggle with overtrading, use that. The tools are literally at your fingertips, but you won't use them. So stop the fucking overtrading and treat this like an actual business. That is all I have.